Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Today on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast, I had the wonderful ladies of the PinkShots podcast to discuss the sexual misconduct that is prevalent in the media today. Now, I want to warn you guys that some of the language is a little bit raw, racy, so just prepare yourselves. And as we approach the 100 episode mark, which will be next week, I have a very special show, so make sure that you download. It is one that is very relevant for the times. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. This is your host, Emmett Muckles. Today, we're going to have a little bit of a different show. I have the beautiful ladies of the PinkShots podcast on board with me today, and that is Miss Sabina and Miss Nicole. Say hello.
Hola. Hello.
So, recently in the news and media, and you can't even go online without finding out that somebody's been sexually assaulted, sexually harassed, their butt got touched, they got offered a BJ, it's men and women, but it's mostly dominated by these women that are coming out. Particularly, it started off with Harvey Weinstein, but we can actually go back further than that. It started
Cosby?
With Bill Cosby.
Right. No, before that was Woody Allen. Well, that wasn't a sexual thing, but it was a whole inappropriate sex thing.
He was just straight up pedophile. Inside his own household.
Yes.
But recently, it started with Harvey Weinstein, and then it was like a trickle effect. Like everybody in Hollywood was sexually assaulted, harassed, touched, felt up.
It
goes around the world too. It goes around the world right now. It's like a war. Like all of a sudden they're coming out of the woodworks.
But Hollywood's a big woodwork.
Yes, I know, but also politics is.
So who in politics?
Well, there was this. I think he was the Minister of Defense or something in Austria, and apparently 15 years ago in 2002, he touched a radio moderator's knee, and she came up with this now, and he's like,
really?
Can I use swear words?
Yeah, you can.
He's like, fuck this, I'm out. Yeah. So he resigned. He's like, I'm not gonna even try to, because really, he touched her on her knee,
right?
And after 15 years, she's like, he sexually harassed me. Okay,
sure.
Anyway,
so let me ask you, Nicole, you're single. Sabina, you're married to me, and I'm an alter ego on another podcast.
You're the Chris Gaines.
For those of you who don't know, that's a reference to Garth Brooks. But, you're very attractive women, and I'm sure you've had an instance where someone made advances, a male, it could be a female too.
This is
but
true.
A male has made advances on you. And to me, the difference is if you want those advances versus if you don't. It's just like the same thing. I can't say it's the same thing because we're totally opposite diaspora, right?
Right.
So if a woman comes on me, and I've had women come on me hard, just a
lot.
I've had women come on to me hard, but it's just like you just brush it off. It's like, but I think the difference is power.
Yeah.
Like those women I never had a female coworker who had position over me,
like a superior type thing.
Who was like, look, if you take it in the face, you can get that extra money.
Yeah, there's a bonus in your future.
Yeah, you can get 2 weeks off or whatever, or you can get power. Even if it was, as a man, if I was to say something, they'd be like, suck it up, dude. Like,
quit your bitching.
Yeah, quit bitching. Shit, I'd say that to myself. I'd be like, score.
Like, you get an extra week of vacation and some?
Yeah, right?
I get to drop a load And
your ego. It's like, I think it's the male ego though, because they just take it as a compliment. Like, oh yeah, like
I'm pretty sure
there are a lot of thing.
I'm pretty sure there are a lot of men out there too that have been getting these offers. Don't you think? Don't you think that's a thing too? Well, all right. Anyway, in a professional environment, as soon as there's power and sex in one equation, it never turns out good. There's always someone that feels harassed,
or somebody just uses it as a come up.
Yeah, but there's
right.
And that's why there are rules in place in several companies that I've worked for where you're not allowed to work in one hierarchy with the person you're sleeping with.
And that's a weird thing to me, because as adults, once you get above the age of, I'd say 28, your social circle is pretty much those people that you spend the most time with, which is the people who you work with.
Right.
Especially if you work in a bigger company, yes.
Yeah, I mean, even if you work in a company of 20 people, those are your most intimate situations, because you are constantly around these people, and you are... Yeah, that's... I mean, like, you go to work, you spend most of your work at home. If you're not at work, you're spending time getting to, coming from.
Right.
And then when you get home, you probably have maybe 6 hours to do everything else before you got to get some sleep.
That's your dating pool.
So that's your dating pool. So, I mean, I understand it because we live in the land of liability. But what is your take on... I'm going to ask you, Nicole, what is your take if you were to experience an advance from a boss or someone who has higher rank than you and can dictate what happens to you if that happens to you?
I'm probably not the person that
She's like, it's down. She's like, I got two hands.
Let's do this.
I'm like, where's the problem? Where's this a bad thing? You know, I'm getting paid, I'm getting laid. You know, it's all good. No.
Here's the right person to harass, guys.
Not only that, but it takes a lot to offend me. I mean, it honestly does, because that's just my natural personality. I can be the woman with a bunch of guys who are all talking, or like not like that, standing around. Guys are talking like guys, you know, how guys can talk. And I can hear that stuff, and I don't, you know, I'm not all like rolling my eyes or, oh my God, you know.
That's so offensive.
Yeah. Or,
no, but I'm neither.
And so that's hard though, because I can almost be one of the guys. Like I don't get offended at that stuff. You're a guy, and I know what you're talking about. I know none of that bothers me. So in that sense, you know, hearing guys talk about it, or if they were like joking and they said, hey, you know, say they were talking about, you know, something sexual in a joking manner, and they said, oh yeah, Nicole, you probably know about that, or hey, you want to go, you know, if they jokingly propositions, you know, I'm not going to get all offensive and think anything more than it's just guys being guys.
Yeah.
If it's a boss in that type of a boss, I
think it always also depends on, are you attracted to that person or no?
That's what I'm saying.
Because I wouldn't be offended if you're a super hot guy, you know?
You're like, my game's still tight.
Right?
So
I mean, if he gives me another week of vacation, okay.
You're like, super.
Yeah. Right. But if it's some 400-pound, you know, sloth who's, you know,
like Harry Weinstein?
Exactly. But you can't compare this like Hollywood. Like, I understand people did what they had to do because they're trying to make their career. Like, that's what they're there for. And granted, yeah, my job is what it's there for. But I guess my point is, it's a kind of a different situation, because when push comes to shove, if I can't be in a company where I feel like, I don't think I'd have to exploit it and make a big deal about it. You know, if I don't like where I'm working, I don't like my boss, he's just, you know, an inappropriate asshole, I'm going to go find another job.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, and I know that might be, I don't want to say the coward's way out, but I don't feel the need, because then it's going to be someone else. Yeah. Like, sometimes you have to blow the whistle to stop the asshole.
She said, blow the whistle.
Take that how you want it. If I don't want to blow his whistle, I might blow my whistle on the situation, because it's going to be someone else, like if he's that way. So I understand how people do bring it to light, because I'm strong enough that you can say and threaten, and there's not a whole lot you could do or say to me that's going to get me. You're not going to break me over it. Like, I'm going to challenge you. Somebody who's not as independent or what's the word?
Secure.
Thank you. I'm like, come help me, guys. If I'm not so secure in myself, like somebody who's not, they would just take it because I don't want to say anything, and I don't have a problem saying something. But I guess my point is, push comes to shove, I just go find another job and not work for them.
All right, let me ask you this. So let's look at the situation literally for what it is. So you got this guy who is on par of attractiveness, is mediocre at best, and yet he has all these really hot people coming to him saying, I want something from you. I want you to pick me for whatever your endeavor, whatever you're built in. And he's like, opportunity.
Well, yeah.
And he has a lot to choose from. So let's say, and I'm not rationalizing this. I'm just playing the devil's advocate and looking at it from a totally different point of view, which is, this guy is like, I got all these hot people and I have this power. I might as well use it. And it's been a long time he's been getting away with it.
Yeah.
Because it actually came up a couple years ago and they kind of brushed it under the rug. Because here's the other thing that they're not talking about. I think this is a norm, so to speak, in entertainment.
I'm sure.
And outside of that, now it's trickled down because somebody said it's okay for me to tell what's going on with this Harvey Weinstein. So everybody else is coming out to woodwork like this.
Me too.
Like, yeah.
That's how they come out. They're like, me too.
Me too. Hey, does anybody else want chicken? Me too. And I'm really not trying to make light of the situation because
or justify it.
Yeah, because it can be really traumatic and it can really change someone's opinion of how they approach the world when they go through this. I'm like, this is norm. Particularly, we've been taught all these virtues of people, and then you find out the opposite thing. But it seems like this is a very common practice. Now, I'm going to go another route. So, if you like somebody, you flirt with them.
Right.
The most mild form of flirt is smile, show attention. The next level of it is touching, which is a form
physical,
which is a form of intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Sabina taught me
You just
that
skip
one.
talking?
No, I'm talking about. I said that I know that this is probably normal, and I was given a point of view of why that guy would do it. But then I kind of pivoted a little bit in the levels that people communicate their desires to other people, which means it starts out with a flirt.
Right.
Like you see somebody, you smile.
Yeah.
Say something nice. Hey, how you doing? Hey, that perfume smells great on you. Blah,
yes.
blah, 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 blah. They don't get a reaction out of that, or they get a little reaction out of it, and then they
keep going.
A step further. Where's that cutoff?
Right, because if this is okay, then maybe the next step's okay. And when then that's okay, then the next step must be. And then it just keeps building until it's not okay. But where's that fine line?
But that's where the power comes in. Because you might be responding differently to someone who has power over you or someone that you want something from, as those women wanted something from this guy because he was very powerful in his industry.
And if it was just like, say, a former colleague, like just an actor, nobody with, that couldn't do anything, it would be a little bit different.
Yeah. And so he was being nice, maybe. He was flirting with those women and they, they said, oh, nice, thank you, because what else are you going to say?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the person who makes a decision for your life as far as your career goes. So you're being nice in this regard. Mm-hmm. And then he goes to the next step and tries to touch you. Well, it depends on how much you want what you want in your career.
Right. Like, how badly do you want it?
If you really say, hey, I don't want this.
Well, not only that, but there's 20 other women in the other room who are going to say yes.
They would do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then you got that moral, if I say no, he's going to say, okay, cool, next. And the next girl's going to come in.
Yeah.
And so.
I mean, obviously, it's not the right thing to do from his perspective, from his point of view.
But the thing is, he can. And that's the thing. It's like, why did you? Why didn't he? Because he could.
I just wonder how many women are there who would, who cast, let's say, men or boys into different roles and say, hey, you got to do this first.
But the entertainment industry is primarily, it's a male industry when it comes to directors and anybody. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head in that industry who holds that kind of power who's a female.
But you know what? In any kind of industry, though, in any kind of industry, if you have power,
a CEO,
and you use
or
the power for sexual favors, it's awful. I mean, I don't think it's right. But
no, but you know what?
But again,
human nature, people, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah,
and that's a sad thing. So whether it's getting that leading role or it's getting that paycheck, getting a bonus, there's still wants in there. It's like, how much do you want it?
But also, again, it's everyone has a choice. So if I go there and he asks something from me that I don't really want to do, I have a choice. Am I going to do it because I want this really very much?
It's where your moral compass is.
Or am I not going to do it?
Yeah.
But if I'm going to do it, did any one of these women say that he raped them?
No, they basically said he was, this is just conjecture because I haven't read a lot of the articles because there's a lot of bullshit that is circulating and opinions of what people think. Mm-hmm. But I haven't heard that word being used.
Yeah.
So he has just taken advantage, just under.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Air quotes.
Yes, air quotes. How do you say it again?
He's been an opportunist.
Yes. Well, he's been taking the. Dang it! I can't say it now.
Right. It'll come back to you.
All right, I got to pause for a minute, and we're going to come back with part 2. All right, everybody. We took a little pause here. I might edit this out. Maybe I won't. Maybe I will. But check this out. So we're talking about this culture of assault in California or in Hollywood. But it's not just limited there because it's everywhere. It's just that this is so prevalent. I mean, people like Louis C.K. is coming out and saying, all of his endorsements have been taken away because... and the shows because someone made allegations against him, and
he's like,
he's like,
it's true.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though, because if you go back, and I'm sure each of you have had a situation where a male was somewhat inappropriate or did things that you're like, I'm not down with that, and it took you a time or two, look, motherfucker, you touch me again, it's on.
Yeah.
Or you would like to have said that, but you might have been in a situation where you're like, if I say something, how is this? What are the
ramifications? Yeah. What's going to happen to me when I say no? Am I going to lose my job? Am I not going to get promoted because I'm up against somebody else? And it doesn't have to be another woman, but it's just that, you said no. So now you've got that strike against you.
But a lot of people are defined by these moments and they carry it with them continuously through their life instead of moving forward. Because I think I had 1 or 2 situations like that, but it was just I got through it and I left it alone.
And it's also, I think, how you react to it, because I think people, we'll say people in power, say they throw it out there and I'm like, no. And you just let it go. I think it's like fishing. They keep throwing it out there to someone else until
That's called dating.
That's called my life. But you're just going to keep throwing it out there and someone's eventually going to say yes, So I think I've been in those situations where it was kind of, a little awkward, and I didn't get super offended. I was just like, yeah, no, and just kind of played it off, and it happened again. I'm like, yeah, it's still no. And I think, I didn't get all crazy about it. I didn't, say, look, you've got a wife, I've got a husband, knock it off, because I just didn't even take it to that level. It was just, if you don't respond to it, eventually they're going to get bored of trying, and they're going to go to the next fish. Or
Have you used the Me Too hashtag yet?
What?
The Me Too. The hashtag.
Oh, no, I haven't had to use it yet. But it happens in just not in Hollywood. I mean, look at the sports. Look at anything in like Tiger Woods and all that stuff. Like it's anybody. It happens everywhere. It's just, it happens in small town USA where we live, and it happens in Hollywood, and happens on the road, and NBA athletes who just, it's everywhere. It's just, we don't talk about it until it blows up, like this whole situation. Then everyone starts talking about it again. And then you get the hashtag Me Too, because I think we've all experienced it. No one just talks about it.
But also, I think all these men that are being deviled out there right now, I mean, I'm like, really?
Feminists are going to hate you.
Yes, and that's totally fine. But look, let's just take, there's Jeremy Pivens.
Yeah, that's my man too.
Like his work. I know you're a big fan of his. And I'm like, so, and then they say he sexually harassed someone, or he took advantage of a girl or a woman anyway. I'm like, but where are the details to it?
Yeah,
I'm like, there's two sides to the story too.
Yeah, there are two sides to the story. Like, let him talk, let her talk, and then we'll find out what happened, or we won't, because I don't really care.
And see, that's the big thing. A lot, because I don't watch much television. I'm very conscious about what I absorb. Like Sabina's like, come watch this with me. I'm like, I'm not into that, and I can't even just be like around it, because I take it in.
Right.
And I've noticed a big change in how I think since I've like restricted my media input. It is like, I can see bullshit real quick.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of bullshit real quick. But let me bring up this topic, because once you're very popular, it's like being the popular person in high school or your job or something like that. Everybody wants a piece of you.
On some level, yeah.
On some level. So, for instance, like it's most prevalent with Sabina. She's just doing inappropriate
Can't take her anywhere.
Sorry.
It's like being a sports an athlete, soccer player, football, whatever you want to be. They have women throwing themselves at them.
Oh, for sure. Because they can go and say, I was with him.
Yeah. So let's say a woman talks to a sports star. She's like, hey, I'm in. And he's like, you want to come up to my room, hang out for a little bit? In his mind, is like, this chick is down.
Yeah.
So come on up. And
because she approached me.
And then she's like, oh, he was inappropriate, or he took advantage of me. But here's where I'm going with this. That's normal to them.
It happens all the time. It's a way of life. It's a daily occurrence.
Yeah, it doesn't happen to us so much, but to them, it's on a whole different level. So it's like, it's normal to them. And then when they get caught up, they're like, whoa.
I didn't do it. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I put my pants on today, and I got, some woman in my bedroom. It's the same thing. Like, it just happens every day. It's just part of my daily routine. It happens.
Also, I think there should be some kudos for Louis C.K. for him saying, yes, that's true. Because he took the opportunity. He owned it. Yeah, he owned it. Because, a lot of people, a lot of men, especially those deviled men right now, they say, no, it's not true. It's not true. They're trying to save everything, which even makes it even worse because no one's going to believe them. Well, there's this one guy saying, yeah, it's true. I mean, that's show business.
And it's in politics. It's all over the place. I mean, you hear senators getting accused of being with interns and whatnot. But the thing is that even if someone gets accused and they say no, because it's out there, no one's going to believe them. I'm like, so you're almost better off saying, sure, I did. Because if you say no,
you're going to lose everything anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, you might as well, if you say no, no one's going to believe you. I mean, that's the sad thing. And so you might as well, just take your lumps, say you did it, and just move on, because it takes more energy to fight it than just to accept it. And that's a shitty thing, especially if you are innocent. And there might be instances, and there might be small and infrequent, but that, I didn't do anything, but I have to say I did.
But then again,
They just took over.
women can just turn it around. Women can just turn it around, and they say, "Oh yeah, he did this to me. He did this to me," and I did this to you, but you wanted it.
So
because there's that two sides to every coin. Yeah, I did it to you, but you also, came
begged for it.
Yeah, you came into my room, took your clothes off. I didn't know what else to do.
Let me ask you if there's a situation where something happens and it is really traumatic, and there's no gain for the person from these advances. Does these situations take away from the people who are really suffering or really had a loss because they've had these?
Yes,
Absolutely.
without a doubt.
Yeah,
because everyone's crying wolf.
Yeah.
It's just like exactly what that is. Everyone's crying wolf. And there's that one person that's not crying wolf. Like, this shit did happen to me. And it was horrible. And it was,
but I'm not a celebrity, and it did not happen with a celebrity, but it really happened to me, and it's awful. And I still have to work through it. Well, and no one's getting, she's not getting the attention.
No, I was going to say, she's not going to get the attention.
Anyway.
And no one's going to believe her. Okay, sure. It's because there's 15 of you saying the same thing, and there's 14 of them that just want the cash. I want you're going to pay me under the table to keep quiet, or you're going to pay me off to make this go away. Yeah. And then there's that one person who's, went through all of that, and there's no monetary gain. There's nothing other than, it just was hurtful, and that's shitty.
So let's. On the heels of this, or the precursor to this, was the Me Too movement and the Me Too situation. So a couple of years ago, a woman brought this out, but she was an African American woman, and no one gave it any fucking validity. So then when you get a young white actress who says, "Hey, I've been," and takes this, everybody jumps out of their damn skin to like, "Oh no, this is wrong." But there's this other countless constituency of women who are saying, "Hey, we're trying to speak out, but they're not taken seriously unless it comes from someone in a dominant culture." I don't understand this, how people jump on trains
based on
who is who's been subjugated to that action. It's hard to ask you guys because you're both white women.
Right. I'm like, sorry, can't help you in this one.
I'm winning no matter what the fuck I do.
Exactly.
So, ladies,
and it's not fair.
This is a departure from the billionaire lifestyle. Usually I'm very clean. But this one, this incites language.
You got the PinkShots podcast in here.
Yeah, I got
no filter.
These little debaucheries.
Turning it all down.
No, but... and I was trying to have this conversation with my daughter about a year or so ago when I went to visit her, and she's really kind of a feminist, but she's a woman of color. And I was trying to explain to her the feminist movement is literally not for you. And I was trying to incite like instances where it wasn't. So you get... And I can't think of anything specifically for the Caucasian women's side, but I can think of a lot of situations where women of color were just being mistreated by men and just dogged, but the feminist movement wasn't coming to their aid, rescue, or acknowledgement. And
no, because they're the weak or minority in so many different levels.
But they're women.
I know. That's why I'm saying they're women. We're, sometimes we get the ass cart, and they're Afro-American. They're a minority in America, especially. And then if you're an African-American woman who is gay,
keep adding to it. You're a lost cause. Yeah.
So so a lot of the things based on you getting recognition or being even understood depends on your hierarchy in the social ladder.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
It is, because... Shit. If you got, assaulted, it should not matter what color your skin is. My vagina was assaulted. It doesn't matter if it's brown or white. It's still a woman. It's like, why do we place importance in different? Why it's a person, it's a woman. I can't grasp that at all.
But I'm not even talking about just the sexual assault or things that are based on the differences of gender, such as a man to a woman assault. But I'm talking about just overall assaults and levels of disrespect that women of color, and when I say women of color, that means anybody who is
not white,
who is non-Caucasoid,
Caucasoid.
Yeah, that's what the designation is. But especially in America, you just don't. It's just like swept under the rug until it happens. Like the equal thing happens to a
white woman.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm coming to you guys.
I know it's not the best forum.
I need my daughter here. She drops science.
Yeah, because she sees it. But look at the Bill Cosby thing. Like it took how many? And I'm trying to remember. Were they all? No, there was some. I'm trying to think of like if they were all white women or if there was some.
Can I be honest about the Bill Cosby thing? I don't know what he did, and Hollywood in the 70s was cocaine and Quaaludes, and they were just doing some stuff, but they portrayed the wholesome, innocent thing on television. Behind the scenes, you don't know what happens. And I think of it like this. So you see all your neighbors and you see them out and they go to church on Sunday.
Exactly.
And you go in their house and they got pentagrams and they have like sex orgies and they're making dynamite bombs.
Sex chamber in the basement.
You don't know what's happening in that house, but based on the perception that you get, you think everything is cool until you find out that it's not. But that's a thing in America. In your lifetime, how have you seen where that has affected you? I'm talking about, people coming on to you, the bullshit.
The bullshit? I'm used to the bullshit, and that's sad. I'm used to
hot.
it. I'm just going to let that one go. I'm just used to the bullshit. It's like a norm. And I don't want that to be the norm. Like I always say, like it would take a lot to surprise me anymore. It would take, honestly, I feel like I've been through, seen, dealt with, pick any of those romps. Nothing surprises me anymore. Like it just doesn't, because it's just all, nothing does. Like I don't know, like this whole sexual thing, it could happen to me and it wouldn't surprise me. Like I could have, somebody in my company that I work for, it wouldn't surprise me. Like nothing. Yeah. And that's where we're at.
It's
like,
sad though.
It is, because it's accepted. Nothing surprises me anymore. So how would I react to it? I don't even think it would bother me, but that's where we're at. Like I'm used to it. It's just, I don't want to be where people are used to it.
I know, but on the other hand, you don't want to be the downer, basically, because there are so many, like, I work with only men in my company, and the worst for me is the mansplaining, where men try to make you feel like whatever you say has no weight in this conversation.
Because you're a woman.
Yeah,
right.
You don't know what you're talking about. I hate that. Like someone can make a move on me, I wouldn't, I would just be like, no, thank you, or whatever, or be like, ooh, I still got it.
But
or
they also know you got a big black husband.
But yes. But again, if someone tries to tell me that whatever I have to say has no weight and has nothing to do with this, and I don't know what I'm talking about, that's when I get mad. But then, again, are you going to say something or no? It's always, right now, they're talking about the sexual harassment, but no one talks about the
everyday belittling,
emotional harassment, let's call it that.
Yeah, no, like there's emotional abuse and there's physical abuse. So the sexual part of this is the physical, and there's emotional abuse. It's the derogatory comment. It's the belittling that you have to deal with. That shit happens all the time, but that doesn't matter because no one's hurt.
But do you say something like, that's disrespectful? Because
I do in my Nicole passive aggressive way. I'll say, really? I'm kind of vocal. Yeah. I'm not going to let somebody say that to me. I'm like, are you serious? Did you really just say that to me? I'm like, I'm pretty forward. I don't have a problem saying that.
I usually just raise my eyebrows and be like, be careful, buddy.
You know what? And one of the
and when you whisper it, it's even
that
worse.
I realized in being in this area where I am a super minority. And I just recently discovered this and had to pick it apart, is the term respect is not in the conversation as much as it is in communities that are non-white. And the reason for that is because the communities that are non-white have suffered such disrespect that we can identify it as soon as it happens.
You're more sensitive to it because you've dealt with it forever.
Yeah, because I was talking to a guy and he was like, what? I was like, dude, did you see that? That was just so disrespectful. He was like, disrespect? What? It was like it was foreign to him. And that was like the 20th time that it come around, and I started having that epiphany. I was like, some people it's just not a part of their conversation. It's just not part of their reality.
It's not on their radar.
Yes, because like I'm always winning. So what the fuck?
Right. No one's disrespectful to me.
And that's what this seems like. It's like it's a disrespecting, and a lot of people don't understand, because you have to think about it. In America, our collusion of women, people of color, anybody who's different than those who wrote the Constitution is a really new thing. I mean, it only is really prevalent since 1965.
Yeah.
Because on the backs of the civil rights movement came the women's rights movement, which was really a white women's rights movement to, like, look, I want to go get a job and get paid as much as you, and la da 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 da. And we never really addressed it and said, what is it? When you come out of something, no one has really said, hey, we got to write rules for this and make everybody understand it. So this should be a historical thing that's taught in schools, but it's not, like sexual advances. But without sexual advances, who would have a relationship?
Like a real relationship?
Yeah, because that's your inroad. Usually, and I've seen this where you go to a bar, right? Let's say, Sabina, you and I are at a bar. I don't know you. I come up, toss you a drink, kick some game. Hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And it's going to start, I'm going to put my hand on hers.
Right.
Like someone has to give an advance, basically.
On some level.
Yeah.
There has to be.
She doesn't pull the hand back. And I'm like, cool. We keep kicking it. And hey, let's go over here and sit down in this booth. Cool. I'm coming with you. Having some more drinks, I put my hand on her knee.
Right.
That's saying, okay. But how do you differentiate from that? I know, and it comes down to power, because this person has power. But also, there was a culture of that. It was called the casting couch.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows there was the casting couch. And the casting couch wasn't you sit down and you just get casted. It's like the couch is where we going to get it.
It's a reason it's a couch, not a chair.
Right.
There's a reason there's room on that couch.
Or a footstool.
Exactly.
So, I mean, this is nothing new. And it seems like with this generation, particularly, they have these low periods where there's nothing. And then somebody strikes a match and it becomes the hot topic, and then it goes away.
But it comes back around.
It always comes back around. So what's the remedy for it? I mean,
I don't know that there is one.
How do we take this? And why is it that because they're in Hollywood, it's so important?
And it's no important. It's not less important than if it happened to you at your job. It's just nobody gives a shit because it's just you.
It's because those people are VIPs. They are in the media. They are on Facebook, on Twitter, blah, blah. So are we, by the way. So they are in the spotlight, and that's why it's more important. If what's her name, Shannon, whatever, had breast cancer, that's more important
Shannon Doherty.
Yes, than my neighbor having breast cancer.
Yeah.
Always. It's always, they always bring topics like that out if it happens to someone that's popular.
That makes a good point, because constantly we see things that are happening on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram.
Any social media.
Yeah, any social media where somebody says, hey guys, help me with this GoFundMe page. My friend has breast cancer. People are like, whatever. But if Kim Kardashian say, hey everybody, I have a left cheek ass cancer. And
my implant went wrong.
My implant leaked into my leg and my ass is deflating. So I need you guys to help me with the GoFundMe. Her page will get funded like that.
Yeah.
So it's really about popularity and presence.
Status.
And status in the world. And what's really funny is like all that goes away over time. So you have a finite, like a 15-minute window, and that 15-minute it's usually about 5 to 10 years if you're in the media. And outside of that, like you're really not that important. That's why I think people are chasing popularity on social media so much, is so that they can get, it gives you power. Kim Kardashian is the perfect example, and most people don't realize she came to prominence because she banged Ray J.
Right?
Yeah.
It all started somewhere.
I mean, she was a cute girl. Then she went and got some booty implants and some boob implants, and
She just played it right. She
She
had
was
the
just a-
traction and she used it. She used the opportunity.
She marketed herself the right way.
so she's a perfect example. So he made a sex tape, leaked the sex tape, and she was like, "Shh, I'm about to come up on this." Mm-hmm. And so she played it right. Just like the other day, was the singer Sia. Mm-hmm. She had a situation where a photographer had some nude photos of her, and he was like, "I will leak these if you don't." He basically hostage.
Right, blackmailed.
Yeah, blackmail. And she was like, "Shit, I take my own." And hey, everybody, you get
Right?
here's the first picture of my butt.
She's like Jennifer Lawrence. She
Yeah.
did the same thing.
Yeah, with dimples in my ass.
Yeah.
And everything. If
But you
want-
know what? And that's when the power turns
I was
around.
going to say it's because she took her power.
Again, and that's, you as a man of power might harass me or might take advantage of me because I want something from you, and then the other way around. So now the women are coming up with the power, and they're like, I'm going to tell on you.
All right, I'm going to switch subjects here. Totally.
Oh, boy.
Thanks
We're
for the
gonna-
warning.
Are we baking something?
No, we're going to go to nudity.
Oh, yay.
Oh, boy.
Love it.
So this is part 3. Nudity.
Nudity.
So a lot of this comes down to exposure, which is a lot of men, particularly in America, are not exposed to the human body in its natural form, whether it be from their family. It is because we are this colonized nation from a Puritan society, which is England, and all that was taboo. You can't show leg. You remember? I mean, it used
No,
to
that's what the skirts were really long, and
used to
there's
be-
yeah.
yeah, illegal for a woman to show her knees. Mm-hmm. Her knees, let alone her hoo-ha.
And it's still weird to show your nipples.
Yes.
Speaking of Instagram.
Even though there's still a lot
Yeah.
of
are you
nudity.
talking
They will
about?
delete your picture. If you show a nipple on Instagram, they're going to delete your picture. They deleted a picture of a mom,
Breastfeeding?
No. Yeah, that anyway.
Oh.
But the mom took a picture of her 2-year-old, or was
Yeah.
she like 1.5 or whatever?
Right.
Like just pulling up her shirt, looking at her belly.
Uh-huh.
They deleted it because of nudity.
Please
Isn't
don't hit
that-
the desk.
Sorry, isn't that something?
Now,
That's what I'm saying. Awful.
so
But why do we police that stuff? But we don't police the rest of it.
But you're the perfect person to ask.
Oh boy. Careful what you ask, because you know I'm going to tell you the truth. Like maybe.
I mean, I think I do understand it, where once you're not privy to it, you know, and everything that you've seen in your life says if you see someone in their natural form, it has to be sexual. It has to be literally about procreation or copulation of some sort. And this is what's really cool about me being the particular age that I am, is that my insanity drug is starting to wear off, which is testosterone. So it's leveled up. So I can make these like just rational judgments on things about, what I see. One of the things was when we went to the spa. So I am literally around nude people all day, and there was not a sexual thought
You also
whatsoever.
have to say that it was not here, it was in Europe.
Yeah, because it's funny, because it was really cool. And I'm going to tell you one of the biggest things for me, because I battle with having vitamin D deficiency because of
So do I.
where we live, all the clothes that we... You're so funny.
Sorry. Sorry, Carrie. Sorry.
This is what it turns. So if you want to hear more, go to the Pink Shots podcast.
I couldn't help it.
They're just honest.
Sorry.
Grown ass women talking about grown ass things.
I was like, I relate with you, brother. I do too.
But it's
no.
really not always about sexual. And one of the things I actually discovered was the actual beauty in the human form.
Right.
In all of its forms, whether it's big, fat, skinny, whatever. You just see, you begin to understand a different level of love, like how an appreciation for people in their basic form. So one of the first things that I realized is that if you are around a bunch of people who are unclothed, it takes away a level of judgment.
Yeah. It kind of strips them down figuratively and literally.
Yeah. Outside of what you would think that someone would judge you because you have clothes on. Now there's something not to judge you by, which is, I can't tell your status. All I can tell is if you've been to the gym or not.
Exactly. Or if you're a male or a female. That's all I can do. Yeah.
If you're a natural male or female.
Exactly.
And that's literally it, because one thing that you can tell is what someone has done to themselves, which is,
they have implants.
Yeah, wow.
They are very far north.
Like, why are you shaving at that age?
Right. But it's very vulnerable, though.
But, I mean, you and I talked about it, Nicole. I was like, could you be nude? She's like, hell
to the no. I cannot be in that vulnerable state. It's very exposing.
You know what? It's not honestly a vulnerable state.
But I live in the culture where it is. Yeah. You come from a different mindset. Here, we've got nudist colonies not too far away, and people think that's just like crazy shit. Like, that's might as well be drinking Kool-Aid under a tent. But they're not. They're just nudists. But we look at that like they're freaks or something wrong with it. That's the stigma out there. You come from a culture that's just normal. Yes. So I can't help be that way. I mean, I'm sure there's some women or people here that aren't, but no.
I mean, we come into this world without a stitch of nylon on.
It's just your natural state. That's all. And the thing is, you know what? I have to say these things real quick because I just have to.
Get it out.
I figured it out. Why? Well, first of all, I don't think they're fat people. There's just clothes that are too little. Period.
Okay.
Also, in the United States, why do little boys think that boobs are something? Oh, boobs! That has to be about sex.
Because we're raised that way.
Yes.
It's the society we live in.
Because they've never seen their mother naked.
Because that's weird.
And the other way around, moms have never seen girls have never seen their dads naked. Because that's just as you said, it's the culture around here. But how are they supposed to know that a woman's body can be something totally opposite from sexual? Because like your mom's like something totally not sexual, obviously. I mean, it's your mom or your dad. And I think that's important for children to see their parents naked every once in a while. Not that I say you have to, have a naked day at home or cook naked or whatever, but
Good luck with this. You're going to have to change the mindset of 99.9% of America.
I know. I don't.
Because if I didn't know you and I heard about this crazy Austrian who walks around her house without her top on and she has kids like are old enough to know what her parts are. That's what would be saying. Like then someone's going to want to report you because that's not what you do. Like, you don't expose your kids to sex, because that's just an automatic.
That's not sex, though. It's just me. I'm alone.
I know, but that's the mentality. It always turns to sex. That's what we're raised around. That's what we started talking about. That's where this whole thing about the Harvey Weinstein thing. It's
everything has to be sex.
You know,
like, really, I have a friend who is a principal in a school, and one of the parents wants to sue another pair of parents because their 3-year-old or 4-year-old son touched the other party's 4-year-old girl on their underwear.
You said underwear?
Yes.
How did they touch him on their underwear?
I don't know. Sexual harassment.
For real.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Or they're just kids being curious because they don't know any better.
4-year-olds.
I know. They don't know any better.
Like, look, I don't have a sister. Let me look what you got.
Yeah. That's not the way. No, that's not the way it goes.
Children, like a brother and a sister taking a bath with each other. Not a thing.
And that used to be common. Like, I remember.
Like, there's one load of bath water, and first the children take a bath, usually together. If they didn't poop or pee in it, I'm gonna put my butt in it.
Thanks for that stipulation.
Just saying, but that's just what it is.
But that's how.
I'm
glad you threw that in there because I was really concerned. I'm like, would you still go in if they just took a dump, or would you like?
No.
I did that once to my cousin.
Anyway, I'm just saying.
Pooped in the bathwater.
I pooped in the bath.
There's a submarine in the water.
I pooped in the bathwater when I was little.
And I think it was more, even though
it's the warm water.
Yeah, but I think this kind of stuff happened more common years ago. Like I'm sure if you ask my mom, I'm sure at some point. It wasn't a bit because that was then. It was a little bit different. I think we've just grown into this uber sense. We are so sensitive to so much stuff right now.
But where
you
are we
can't
going
say the
from
wrong
here?
thing. You can't look at the wrong thing. You can't touch the wrong thing. We're over fucking sensitive about so much.
I got one for you. You remember at Maddie's birthday?
Yes.
So remember I was sitting next to your mom. Me and her was kicking.
Yes.
And laughing. And I was laughing and just like touched her on the knee. And she goes, you can't touch me on the knee. I'm like, huh? Caught me off guard. I was like, what? I was like confused. I was like, what? It's just, oh.
Yeah.
Because she took it like, from her generation.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like guys just be like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
Grab you on the knee. And it's like, and it doesn't even dawn on me because I was just kicking it with your mom. We was laughing and stuff. And
you think she'd be a little bit more used to me, and sitting next to you would have been a walk in the park.
But that literally stuck with me since it happened.
Really?
That here's what we don't realize. A lot of what happens outside of our eyeballs is someone else's perception.
Right.
Which means, and I'm king of violating the verbal contracts.
Oh God, no one's safe. What did you put on your cup the other night? Mr. Inappropriate?
Yeah. It's inappropriate. It's just because I'm saying what I'm thinking, and especially in my own house. You're in my house now.
Right.
So I'm going to be me.
Mm-hmm.
That means when you come through the door, there's no filter.
You're going to be violated.
Yes, on some level.
There's no filter.
We should put that as a note in front of our door.
On the welcome mat.
Enter at your own risk.
Let them sign a voucher or something.
Visitors will be violated. Enter at your own risk.
But you know what? And this is funny because Sabina pointed this out to me. She was like, you are brutally honest at sometimes, and people... You can tell they're offended and a little bit put back, but then they come and apologize to me.
Yes. The thing is, if we have people over, a long while ago, we had people over, 2 friends of Emmett's, and they were having a discussion. All of a sudden, the discussion got a little heated.
Oh, I remember
and he told them
that.
like 2 or 3 times, look, there are children sleeping right there in these rooms. Can you keep it down? And after 3 times, he's like, get the fuck out of my house.
Remember that? I do.
So, and...
In those words.
I have no doubt.
And they picked up and they left. And the thing about him is he's unapologetic. He does not apologize for things like that. So... The next day, they would come back and they're like, oh man, I'm sorry about last night. You told us 3 times. I totally understand. We had to go. And I'm like, look, this only happens to you because you don't apologize. Another person would have come back to them and said, sorry about last night. It wasn't really my day and blah, blah. But no, he doesn't. He stays very permanent with the things that he says.
Mm-hmm.
Like he says something and he sticks with it. That's it.
That's because that's my conviction. That's part of my thing as being male is I have to make decisions and I have to live by those decisions, which is another thing that I don't see a lot in this world. And I understand this too, because a lot of it is the vilification of the white male because the historical context and what has been built upon that and what they gain from that system. And a lot of white males don't get it. They're like, I didn't do anything. You're like, yeah, but this has been imprinted in the DNA of people where that trauma is still prevalent and your ignorance is perpetuating some of those things into the future. So once you begin to recognize, for instance, when you read the Constitution,
that piece of paper
where they said all men are equal, are created equal. But then they go on and say women aren't men, so
doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. And we see these brown people as 3/5 of a man,
right?
And that fucks it all up because You're excluding. You're just saying what you really should have just said is, hey, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant men are created equal to each other.
Oh, for sure. But think when it was written, that's what it was.
Because a lot of people don't realize, for instance, that the Irish, the Italians, the Turks, everybody who is from this kind of subgenre weren't equal either. It wasn't until people started commingling and it became this new phenomenon of white that came out. But I'm digressing, but a lot of this is just people's perception of how something occurred. Mm-hmm. So if you want something from me, you're like, that guy's got some power. I got some power too. It's the power of the P. If I can give this to him, I got something on him and he's got to give it up.
Right. I took that power back.
And then if he doesn't give it up, she's like, and I'm not saying this happens, but she has something to fall back on. Like, he harassed me.
Oh, yeah. She'll turn this. I mean, people can turn that shit around, though.
Again, that's the power shift that's happening right now. That's why they're portraying all these men as devils. Because, someone turned the power around. Maybe I can do that too. Funny enough, though, that because the women are not very, very much in the light here.
What do you mean not in the light?
Well, I don't know who Jeremy Piven's harassed or who CK.
That's the other thing.
So
Louis CK harassed.
The
I don't know.
victim. We don't know much about the victim.
Yeah.
It's all about the accused.
I'll give you one. Let's go back to Bill Cosby. So he was. All these women were talking about. Yeah, he roofied me, or that's basically what he did.
Yeah.
The old school version of roofing.
Right.
And then this one woman came out who I was like, Janice Dickinson. Janice Dickinson is crazy as cat shit.
Yeah, she is. She's not, yeah.
And when she came on, that literally threw out the case for everybody else to me, because I seen how this woman acts on these reality shows.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Wait. I was like, but
she wrecked it for the rest of them.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like you threw one piece of dirt in the water. Mm-hmm. And then I start questioning the virtues of the other women who said I was harassed too.
Right.
And especially when it happened so long ago. Is there a statute of limitations on anything but murder?
No, but then you think, why does it always come out so much later?
Yeah, I think it should be. I think it should be like, I don't know, let's say a 5-year period.
What?
Like, if you're not coming out within 5 years, screw you.
So Simon Sinek said this, and I love the fact that, and this is unrelated to this topic, but it's so prevalent in so many different things, is start with why. Why did someone come out now? Why is this happening? Why is it happening in the way that it's happening at this moment? And that's the question that nobody asks anymore. They make this perceived notion of any situations. For instance, the Colin Kaepernick situation. I keep hearing this thing like, you're disrespecting the flag, you're disrespecting the military and veterans, and I always go back to, like, especially now, what's the reason for him doing
What's the
it?
root cause?
Why is he doing that? Did he say, your flag sucks, screw you? No, he said, look, I am protesting how some police officers treat African American men, period.
That's the cause right there. Nothing more, nothing less.
But the narrative, which is spin.
Because it's media, and they can make it how they want it.
Yeah, they spun it to say,
Yep.
oh, he's disrespecting the flag, he's disrespecting the United States, he's disrespecting this. And this guy had everything to lose. So you really have to ask yourself, why would he do that? Why would he disrespect the flag? What did the flag do to him? And
what does he have to gain by doing that?
Yeah,
Nothing.
And he's really like, I want you guys to start looking at what these police officers are doing, because there's an overwhelming number or percentage where police officers harm, maim, or kill African American men during arrest, and there is a birth to prison culture of men of color. And I'm like, I just see this so often that people aren't asking why, but they're listening to all the reasons that are not related to
that it could be
whatever is,
or that they perceive it to be.
Yeah, it's like
it's perception, not the actual root cause.
Yeah, it's like some PR company mind mapped what's going on.
Yeah,
and they said, okay, here's the root cause.
Must be this.
It could be this. It could be this. It could be this.
Yeah.
Which one has the most emotional weight?
But he told them flat out, and they still didn't believe him. I think he just thought, radical times ask for radical measures, and he wanted to shine some light on this.
He's in a
and
position where he could.
This.
Yes.
He chose this, and then the media and everyone else, who believes the media, just spinned it the other way.
He used his status to make a statement.
Yeah,
that's all he did.
Which is a good thing.
And he had millions to lose. Actually,
yeah, and he did.
I was going to say, he's lost a lot.
But here's what's going to happen, and here's what most people don't realize. It's people like him. It's people who make bold moves, who last in the halls of history. So,
yes.
So 60, 70 years from now, they're going to look at this man and go, he made a stance for something. And I'm going to go back to, I remember this when I was a kid. I saw the Olympics, and there were these two track runners who came first, second place. And what they did was they put a single black glove on to signify solidarity with the Black Panther movement and held their fist up. Now, I don't remember much else about the 1968 Olympics. In 1968, I was 2 years old.
Right.
But that iconic imagery stays in my head. And the statement that they made is, why did they do that? Oh, because we were in the middle of the civil rights movement. And people were getting their ass kicked. And they were there to say, like, hey, we're here with you. And we're here
so
with
you asked the why.
Yeah, I mean, but it was back then, it wasn't so much about spin. Spin didn't come into like the 80s and the 90s where, we could always spin something a different way to make it in our favor, to make the outcome go the way we want to. But, I just wanted to get you guys' opinion about what you thought about all these women who are coming out and accusing men of sexual harassment, and if it ever goes in the other way.
I think we still need to go back to the why, because I struggle with why now, instead of, we ask the question why, and like, why now? Why 15 years later? And sometimes I think take an example where it did happen 15 years ago to me, and I just was too shameful. I didn't have a voice. I was, whatever the thing is, I didn't want to say something. 15 years later, you say the same thing. And that gives me power. Because now I'm like, I'm not the only one. And so part of me, I get angry that why wait 15 years and come out with this bullshit now? But it takes like one voice or a match to spark it. And you come out, and then I feel a little bit better, like, it wasn't just me. And so I kind of understand how, especially being a woman and you're in that minority, that, strength is in numbers. One person talking about it ain't going to get shit.
Yeah.
15 people talking about the same person, same thing, that's what's going to create a movement.
But,
so I understand why it takes years, because people, I might have talked about it, no one listened to me, but now you're talking about it, and now she's talking about it. Then that kind of, so I guess I do understand it. So the whole time frame thing, it's super aggravating, because I'm like, shit, I don't want to talk about something I did 15 years ago, but...
Also, though, I mean, I have to, point out that sexual harassment or not listening to or not seeing the consent or the non-consent of someone. If I want to have sex with someone, I should make sure someone consents to this. But if the woman, after 15 years or 10 years or maybe 5 years, has the power to take away everything from me and gain in maybe money or success or whatever, that's not the right thing.
No.
I just don't think that after 10 years I should come out with something that happened 10 years in the past.
If you come out without a cause, like I can only agree with that if you came out and I don't want a dime. I just want it to stop. Like, I want to be a voice, because this shit's got to stop in this culture, the society where it's accepted. Consensual, the sexual thing, that's between those two people, and only those two people truly know the true story.
But you know what? We're also in a culture where in that culture, which is Hollywood or media, where any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still, though, I mean, as you said, it's as soon as the media is involved, this whole thing is spun 15 different ways.
Right.
And again, I can say, all right, 15 years later it might be too late, or hey girl, you go, which is fine. I mean, I'm a woman and I'm all for women's rights and everything. You go tell your story, but also to everyone else who hears those things and who hears about the people, the men getting deviled out there. Look at the other side too. Was it a misunderstanding? Was it, was
That's
it really...
what I'm saying. There's only those two people know what happened.
Yeah.
And the media has spun it in 17 different
So,
directions.
Let me. This is the last thing because we're over time. Is where I got to really rephrase this, because there used to be a time. So if you're my wife, which you are,
I am,
and you come home and you have a choice to make. Let's say you're at work and you're like, look, I want to make $80,000 a year. And your boss says, that can happen, but you got to do this. And you have a choice to make. So you could probably do it, and next thing you know,
I'm coming home and I'm like, babe, I just made us $80,000.
That would be you, though.
Or you could come home and say, this dude at work said, look, I asked him for a raise, and he told me I could either do this or not to get what I want. So then I go, okay, I have a remedy for it. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my baseball bat with the nails on the end of it, and somebody's going to pay for that.
Yeah.
What happened to that? Because we always...
Because you would not come home.
No, because you turn into the bad guy. Then it gets all respun as you're some...
Oh, particularly me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Particularly
nothing happened,
He's going to cry, because here's the thing. He's going to deny he said it to you, and he's going to cry, poor me, because I just got beat up by you. And it all gets spun differently. Yeah. And then he's the victim. That's why it doesn't happen.
Again, and this is why we're not lawyers, and this is why we're not judges, and this is why we're not media. Well, actually we are, but
yeah, we are.
But just saying, that's why I'm not watching the news anymore, because that's all you hear. It's all bad news all day long.
Well, it's just the news that they want us to hear. But I feel like I'm all for, if you're just speaking up, to speak up to help another human being or help this girl over here, speak up all you want. Don't get a dime for it. Don't get paid for it. Mm-hmm. Do it because it's the right thing to do. I'm all for that. It's just these people that come out like this whole coming out.
I'm going to write a book about it.
This whole mob,
exactly.
Yeah.
Because what do I have to gain by this bad situation? Mentality has got to change, because bad stuff happens. It encourages bad shit to happen, because I can gain something from it, because I can make money from it. I can sell the story from it. So no, I don't agree with that.
You made me think about one woman who literally did that, which was Superhead. Look that one up. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. Remember, look up Superhead. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Superhead?
She wrote a book.
I know. I'm like, okay, I have no thoughts.
Yeah.
Remember, you guys really have to be of yourself. And what I mean by be of yourself is the fact that you have to distill a lot of bullshit in your life, which means, you're you. You're special. You're one in a billion. And you have to own that. Is just understand that you have value in this world. And that value is really not dictated by anyone else. It's dictated by you. So whatever value that you think you don't have, your value is unlimited. So with that, till next time, be peaceful, have an awesome journey, and respect and be just to one another. Peace.
Bye.
Adios.